Today on Xplay. The PS3 is finally out, and we've got the first reviews. Resistance: Fall of Man, Untold Legends, and Genji: Days of the Blade. Taste the excitement, it's game time.
Prepare to be reviewed.
Adam Sessler, Morgan Webb.
Prepare to be reviewed.
Prepare to be reviewed. This is Xplay.
Hello and welcome to Xplay.
Not just Xplay, but special PlayStation 3 launch Xplay.
Today, a console was launched and takes its first gentle steps towards destiny.
You know, being replaced by another, better, faster console in 5 years.
After over a year of hype, previews, and officially having to withhold judgment until games were reviewable, we, at long last, have come to the point where we can take off the gloves and tell you what we really think of the first games out for the PS3.
And Sony tells us this is next gen, so we're judging it like the next gen.
There's no more going soft on a game just because we're romanced by how many graphics processors the hardware has.
Our first set of games includes some of the most august lineages in gaming, like Madden NFL 07 from the venerable workhorse franchise of sports games, and we've got Gundam Crossfire from the not-so-venerable mech suit franchise. Later in the show, Resistance: Fall of Man, the new shooter from the makers of Ratchet and Clank.
We begin with a fantasy hack and slash that shows us just what the PS3 can do when it comes to kimono rendering. Here's a review of Genji: Days of the Blade.
Genji, about time you showed up. Let's have a look at you. Fearless feudal figures flying through time and space, dispatching hordes of evil. Okay. Beautifully rendered environment shimmering with PS3 energy. Got it. Incredibly sluggish gameplay and a camera that acts like a drunk uncle falling down the basement stairs. We were led to believe the next-gen gaming would be one to rival the great epochs of Japanese history. Genji: Days of the Blade for the PS3 picks up where the title's Dawn of the Samurai dropped us off. A first glimpse reveals the cell's processing power, magic dust, and flickering flame, fake promises that the game's mechanics just can't keep. You'll develop a posse early on to deal death to the eternally wicked Heishi clan, who's trying to squeeze a dark apogee of evil out of this pulsing mystical orifice here. Benki swings what looks like a column torn out of Hearst Castle. He's a nice foil to Yoshitsune when strength's an issue. But overall, old Yoshi's the best all-around choice as he has the fiercest fury. Other characters bring a nice spatial dynamic to gameplay, but also bring particular weaknesses. New directions and abilities are on display, but bring focus to a major flaw in the title. Where am I? The camera in the game is awful. Too many times the title's view is not what the character should be seeing. This flaw was so bad that you had to look at the tiny overhead map to figure out where you were going. Come on, somebody get next gen some glasses. And another thing. Why do these seemingly spry, well-conditioned disciples of androgyny move like a mint julep made of molten lead? Get up! Get up! Special moves, once triggered, took too long to resolve, so you can reset and face a foe from a different angle. Maybe that's why so many of them are spin moves. Here's one. When you pull off enough special moves on the field of bravura, you'll be able to take the fight to an alternate world, where you can deliver more damage in a Stardust bullet time ballroom. Careful though, your enemies can make you their date too. There's a million trinkets and ways to level up and increase weapon strength. At times, though, you'll confront obstacles you didn't know your character could accomplish.
Hey, did you guys know I could do that?
No, I had no idea.
Me neither.
The game is pretty and the characters do have some highly visual combat styles. We just expected them to be better balanced with the rest of the game. In terms of a PS3 launch title, let's just say we'd rather be dry humping a large mammal in the back of a Yaris than playing it. A 2 out of 5.
Genji's story is based on the Genji period of Japanese history. Well, we're not exactly sure how, but can you really blame us? Because who knows anything about Japanese history? There were some samurai, they periodically killed themselves, a rat learned judo, and they invented a religion that sanctifies small trees and fat guys wrestling. Then we nuked them. That's what they turned into a real country.
To see what the PS3 can do with a hack and slash that's not bound up with a complex storyline like the vast pageant of Japanese history, here's our review of Untold Legends.
Behold the gestation of a new generation of gaming. Sony suggests that you don't gaze directly at the future. You might want to poke a hole through a shoebox for safer viewing. Untold Legends Dark Kingdom takes this mindless masher to the next generation of gaming and into dark forests and dark caves and dark graveyards. By now you should know why this is the Dark Kingdom, because it doesn't look good in the light. Choose from the generic warrior, a mage without a lock on, and a scout. What, is she looking for a shirt to go with that sports bra? As the story goes, your employer, the king, is actually an evil dictator transforming peasants into monsters. As you can tell by these cutscenes, he's saving a lot by using still images and really blowing it out on all the flame transitions. Untold Legends gives you two views of the battlefield, fairly close and somewhere in the trees. I know we complain about camera control a lot in these reviews, but this is not camera control. This is a bad fairground ride, and I want to get off. To break up the tedium second only to that of a Taiwanese sweatshop, Untold Legends throws in a couple of puzzles to impede your progress. That one twitching ganglia still rooted in your midbrain will be treated to a brain teaser with a little more sustenance than the monotonous button pushing that got you here in the first place. Here's my favorite. Barrel throwing. Yes, a puzzle without aiming or camera movement that requires you to accurately throw an endless supply of aluminum at switches from a single vantage point. Okay, enough of this. What's great about Untold? The capes. Just check out that detail. She looks like a shiny block of cheese, but that cape is fabulous. Untold Legends makes for a great fabric simulator. X lets you attack. Barrels explode when you hit them. There is a sewer level. If you wanted more, you would have bought a different game. That's why we're giving Untold Legends for the PS3 2 exploding barrels out of 5. Some legends are better left untold. I know it's an old joke, but when you come up with new mechanics, we'll come up with new material. Ouch!
Being brutally honest, game critics isn't always fun.
You know, we do wish we were stupid. We wish we were naive enough to act like these games are great and believe it. But we're not.
It's not like we want these games to be bad.
No.
We've been looking forward to the PS3 for years now, and to be disappointed like this, it's kind of harsh.
But you know what? There is one glorious exception later in the show, so stick around because you need this to keep your faith in games.
Up next, Gundam Crossfire. And later, Resistance Fall of Man on Xplay. Drunk on lush graphics and rye whiskey, it's Morgan Webb.
One of the interesting questions about the next gen is how it's going to deal with the lame rank and file games that get cranked out every week. Your Naruto games, your mediocre first-person shooters, and of course your mech suit games. Can the high-end graphics and motion recognition somehow make these games more than the sum of their cliches? No, probably not. But still, here's a review of Gundam Crossfire.
Back when Sony first unveiled PS3 game footage, Gundam was almost too good to believe. Well, the moment of truth is finally here, and there's only one question left to ask. What the f*** am I looking at?
Looks like our lucky day.
You'd be due for some luck after ending up in this god-awful game. Despite rolling on Sony's cutting-edge next-gen dubs, Crossfire looks distinctly last-gen. Hell, the ground is reminiscent of Armored Core on the PS1. But looks aren't everything, right? Surely there are redeeming features here somewhere. As with many Gundam games, you choose either the Earth Federation or Zeon side and battle it out during the one-year war through horrifically simplistic missions. The lock-on conveniently eliminates the need to aim, so you can just jog around firing at things you can't even see, and you're pretty much guaranteed to hit them.
Enemy approaching the supply depot.
There's an attempt to add some strategy with a damage system to let you blow off various body parts, but since the only way to target specific areas of an enemy is this useless zoom view, you're reduced to firing wildly and hoping you hit something important. In between missions, you slog through mind-numbing menus to manage your hangar of mechs and requisition new recruits. I've had more fun applying grout to floor tiles. Control of all the mechs is sluggish and clunky, and the uncooperative camera is no help at all. Luckily, the enemy isn't really bright enough to pose a significant threat much of the time. What are you doing? You're just standing in my base. Are you two even fighting each other? Everywhere you turn in this game, there's something horrible. I have to warn you, this part may make your eyes bleed. I'm not sure what I like better, the fact that the water behaves like a solid sheet of fabric, or the way it occasionally clips through the nearby ground.
Protect the media.
Media? The word is Medea, mythological figure, tragedy by Euripides, anyone home?
What are you doing?
I'm kicking you to death pretending you're the game disc. It's amazing that Crossfire looks this bad and yet can't even manage to run smoothly. It's not like we expected a Gundam game to knock it out of the park or anything, but this wouldn't even be acceptable on the PS2, let alone as a launch title for the most advanced next-gen system in existence.
I've been hit. It's over.
Mobile Suit Gundam Crossfire gets a 1 out of 5 for being shovelware of the highest order, and if you buy it, you're part of the problem.
Unfortunately, we've lost. Critical.
Sony, you are failing me.
But let's not forget, every system takes a while to hit its stride, and in just the past few months, we've seen a number of great games come out for the PS2.
And the 360 has only gotten really good games in the recent past, so maybe the PS3 isn't quite proving itself yet, but it is showing interesting possibilities.
Speaking of interesting possibilities, you guys should swing over by our website and let us know whether you pre-ordered a PS3.
And we're gonna have the results later on in the show because we love numbers.
In a moment, Madden 07.
Great interception.
And later, Resistance Fall of Man on Xplay. At long last satiated, it's Adam Sessler.
In the last generation of consoles, some general stereotypes of owners came about. Now, we all sort of understood the Xbox is for guys, because it takes the vast upper body strength of a drunken frat boy to lift one. And the GameCube is for 7-year-old Japanese girls. And the PS2, well, that's for everyone else. But mostly the people who love the pointy-haired RPG characters and/or Madden. Now the PS3 has come out, and it's very heavy. Man-heavy. So it clearly needs the one sports franchise it always owned to prove itself as a man console. Here's our review of Madden NFL 07.
This is setting up to be a great one here on EA Sports Radio today.
As the NFL steadily moves past its halfway point, many new questions have started to emerge. How many Mannings will make the Super Bowl? Or is choking in the playoffs a Manning family trademark? Will Matt Leinart bring his USC success to the NFL? Or will he be known as another of Paris Hilton's many conquests? Will Drew Brees lead the New Orleans Saints to the Super Bowl? Or will their playoff chances just float away? But the most important question is, how does Madden NFL 07 play on the PlayStation 3? Well, like a Michael Vick run, it's steady, sure-handed, and for Madden fans, not really that surprising.
Scrambled and finds the end zone.
It shouldn't come as a shock to any Maddenite that Madden plays like it does on most other systems. It's pretty much the same as we saw on the Xbox 360.
The marvelous one brings it home for 6.
All the modes Madden's known for are here, with Superstar mode being the most popular. I said Superstar. Oakland Raiders, you wouldn't know anything about that. And the lead blocker is back, a welcome addition to any football game. If you don't know, lead blockers are the ones that get hip replacement surgeries by age 35. But when it comes down to brass tacks, it's still the glory positions of quarterback and running back that are always the most fun to play. Sorry, T.O., it's true.
Here's the feed.
So we've talked about the gameplay.
Great interception.
We've talked about the visuals. We won't talk about the Madden cover jinx because we don't believe in curses, but the big mystery for the PS3, Madden, football, and America is how does T.O. look? Glorious. Just glorious. So what does it all mean? Well, if you have Madden NFL 07 already, there's no need to get a new one for your newfangled PS3. It's the same Madden as it ever was. We give Madden NFL 07 for the PS3 3 humble wide receivers out of 5.
Madden is just the beginning of the onslaught of licensed sports games we should see on the PS3.
The question is how much motion sensitivity and more powerful hardware are going to push the future iterations of the game.
Now, you can't really judge a console by its launch titles.
Yeah, see, what we mean is we want to see EA Cricket 07 for the PS3. That's the real test of a console. How well it can produce a game version of a team sport that is only liked or understood by people from India, Pakistan, and Jamaica.
And Douglas Adams. God rest his soul.
Moments away. Resistance Fall of Man on Xplay. They've been waiting for this since November 2000. It's Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
I know. It's been a disappointing set of games. All this anticipation, and what we get is a bunch of 2s and 3s. And a 1. Launch games rarely capture the full potential of a console, but in this case, one glorious game did give us a glimpse of the real possibility presented by the PS3. So here is our review of Resistance Fall of Man.
Hey, it's Killzone. Oh wait, no it's not. It's an actual game. This is it, Resistance Fall of Man.
You're with me, let's go!
The premier game for the PS3, developed by the reliable creators of Ratchet & Clank, Insomniac Games. The game takes place in an alternate 20th century, where World War II never got off the ground because some type of virus has unleashed hordes of creatures upon Europe, leaving only a pocket of survivors in Britain.
His air support, goodbye!
America hasn't been affected, but they do get involved, which is where you come in. You fight, and then you get infected, and that's when things get really bad. The game is obviously an action game, and that's with a capital A. Insomniac has thrown in everything but the kitchen sink, with massive battles, corridor crawls, boss standoffs, weapons, and a wide variety of creatures to square off against. All of this is wrapped up in a package that has some of the best pacing ever in a game of its type. But let's get to one important factor, the graphics. This is standard definition, and it doesn't look like much of an improvement. High def does look significantly better, although it's not close to the now comically overstated promises from Sony. That being said, it's a very attractive game whose look sets an effective mood as the tension increases with each ensuing chapter. And tension is at the heart of the game, as some of the large-scale battles with supporting allies feels hopeless and overwhelming, as inventive munitions scream every which way. This is coupled with lonely excursions through devastated locales where careful thought and weapon usage is essential to continue. Plan to frequently vacillate between careful strategy and frantic gunplay. And what weapons you have. True to form, Insomniac has stocked the arsenal with creative death dealers that range from the traditional machine gun and the surprisingly effective shotgun. A special note is the auger, which shoots through walls and becomes more powerful coming out of the other side, while also capable of generating a shield through which you can attack your enemies. I want this alternate reality. Okay, maybe not, because these enemies are something else and really an uncomfortable joy to encounter. From the more humanoid to the terrifyingly immense to the malevolently emaciated, the game shows remarkable creativity in design and implementation, coupled with wicked artificial intelligence that prevents replays from feeling identical. Although this always gets to me. As with Ratchet & Clank, though, the true achievement of the game is the way in which these elements are laid out. You will die often, but the gameplay is so satisfying that frustration is infrequent. A bigger issue is knowing to put down the controller and get to bed, and then get up and start playing again. Saying this is the best game for the PS3 is damning it with faint praise, because look at the competition. But despite elements that might feel borrowed and familiar, there is no other game that combines them with such polish and a sense of adventure. Man, this game is fun. A 5 out of 5.
Resistance Fall of Man manages to give us hope for real competition in the next generation of the console wars.
Resistance has great multiplayer, but since we had to play it before the launch of the console, there wasn't anyone online to play against.
So come look at our web review for a more complete exploration of the multiplayer. And now, here's an Xplay replay.
Genji Days at the Blade got a 2 out of 5 because the camera is terrible.
Untold Legends got a 2 out of 5 because it doesn't look like a next-gen game.
Mobile Suit Gundam Crossfire got a 1 out of 5 because it's the worst piece of crap I've seen all year.
Madden NFL 07 is getting a 3 out of 5 because that's what we gave the 360 version, and it's basically the same thing.
And Resistance Fall of Man got a 5 out of 5 because it's a heaping whopping hunk of fun.
This great moment was a presentation of the Xplay Television Network.